tonight on Real Estate Karaoke, let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about realty. So that's about all the karaoke that I'm going to be doing, and of course this is being recorded, so surprise, there's no karaoke other than my little singing there, which you can go back and watch over and over and over if you choose. I probably would, and somebody I'm sure will bring it on the road. Anyway, in tonight's episode of Real Estate with Ryan, with yours truly, your host Ryan Rolfe, realtor with the dsmSOLD team at Keller Williams Legacy Group, I am going back to a topic that came about when I was thinking of buying a few years ago, and our lease was coming up, and we were thinking, I'm tired of paying somebody else for something that I'm getting a house, a shelter out of, but I'm not reaping the long-term benefits, I guess. So we talked, my husband and I, and we decided, hey, it's time to buy. So we talked to a real estate agent like myself, and we were off. We found out that we were able to be pre-approved, and we were able to get in the type of house that we were looking for. And now, 4 years later, our house is worth a lot more than it was when we bought it, which is great news. That's one of the great things about equity. And yet, one of the things I wish I had thought about a little bit more when I was buying was, when should I start the process if my lease is coming up? So we probably started way shorter than we should have when we were searching, because we didn't have a whole lot of time, and if something didn't go quite right, well, thankfully the place that we were renting from was nice with us, and they let us extend a little bit because we did run into some issues. So I think this is probably something that if you're like me and are maybe leasing now, or have friends, family members that are leasing that are thinking about buying, they're probably thinking about. And it's a great time. Spring is coming up. It's a great time to buy with the interest rates as low as they are. So I thought we would talk about it. So the first thing is, it's on average going to take about 30 to 45 days to close, unless you're a cash buyer. And right now we're seeing 45 is pretty typical. When I'm writing a contract, we'll write 45 days. And the reason for that is with COVID, and with interest rates being where they're at, appraisers, I should say, are backed up, and just with potentially fewer people in title offices and all of the different offices, the folks that work on the back end, you maybe don't see. It just takes a little bit longer. So 45 days is a pretty good time frame. Additionally, beyond that 45 days, we're probably looking at 1 to 2 months of house searching. Sometimes less, sometimes usually that's about what we need. Sometimes it's a lot less. We go out the first day and we look at 5 homes, and one of those is the one. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I know if I were you, or if I were me in my shoes a few years ago, I would have we found our home pretty quickly. However, it would have been nice to have a little bit more time on our lease in order to just not have to rush to move, right? So one of the things that is important that I found out when I bought, and that I always share with my clients, is if you're going to close, let's say for example on March 1st, your first payment actually won't be due until May 1st. Now that really depends on the loan type that you're using. There's some that don't go on that sort of schedule, but most of the time, let's say you close on March 1st or March 15th, your first payment's going to be due May 1st. You get a gap month, and then you kind of almost have like a full month if you close early enough in the month where it feels like 2 months. So then if you do have you have 15 days or so, or even a little bit longer left on your lease, you're not making those 2 payments. You're not making rental payment plus your mortgage payment, which is really nice. Additionally, that's something that we can factor in if your lease is coming up, but you're like, hey, I found the house that I want, but I still have a month left on my lease. What do I do? Well, if we plan the closing right, probably isn't going to be an issue. The other thing that we can always do is ask for, find out what your lease buyout is. So in your lease, if there's a buyout, it'll be in the terms of the lease. So that's something that we can always discuss together. But additionally, if you look at that lease buyout and we find out, you need this amount of money to get it out of the lease, sometimes we can ask for that in closing costs, which is something that we'll talk about when we sit down to meet and walk through the buying process. I love walking buyers through the buying process just to help you understand what you're getting into and what to expect. So those are a few things to consider if your lease is ending. I would say be prepared 2 or 3 months, if not a little bit more, before your lease is up to start looking. And of course, feel free to reach out if you've got questions. I love working with home buyers and home sellers. Love helping people really just navigate the process and have a great experience. So I would be honored to help you and answer any questions you might have. Feel free to inbox me. You can comment on these videos, find my contact information on my business page, and let me know how I can help. Hope you're having a great week, and if you're here in Iowa and not on vacation right now, hopefully you're staying warm because it's nice and chilly in Iowa with these lovely frigid temperatures. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week, and of course, as always, if you've got topic ideas or there's anything you need, send me a message. Take care. Bye, everyone.